Welcome back to another Division 2 upload. I'm Lieutenant Buzz Lightbeer, and holy hell do we have a lot to discuss after yesterday's Operation Iron Horse raid going live in conjunction with the Termite League. We've got admissions of cheating with pre-release raid guides, rainbow loot issues, and ongoing investigations. But before we begin, if you want more of this intensive Division content in your lives, please smash that sub button and ring the bell to never miss another upload notification from my YouTube channel. Okay, let's get this one started. So first up, there was issues getting today's stream to work over on Twitch, so you will not be able to find a VOD over there to actually watch this video, and this was due to issues on Twitch's end. I had to watch it on YouTube. I will include a link down in the video description, but today's stream was conducted by Yannick, Nikki, and Hamish, and they started off today, as they usually do, with priority alerts. So first up, as we know, yesterday there was a maintenance to basically get the Iron Horse raid up and running, along with the latest termite season. They also fixed a door issue on the DARPA mission that prevented players from breaking through the Black Tusk forces. They also discussed the fact that Division 1 global events are now back with Global Event Strike. So if you were still playing Division 1 on any of the platforms, you now have a new global event to participate in. They also wanted to let level 30 players, those are players that never purchased Warlords of New York, let you know that your version of the raid will be live next week on July the 7th. And they also wanted to discuss an issue with Delta codes surrounding raid attempts. So apparently there's some sort of software or some sort of monitoring system that is in the game to detect if players are using inappropriate methods to, I guess, lower their raid clear times. And one of the issues that players were having as the servers were inundated with players trying to take on the new raid is that either one or all of the group members were getting dropped as the server lost connection. And what was happening is if the whole group got dropped and then came back in, they were able to pick up on the checkpoint that they had ended at, but the issue was the game had detected them as possibly they were doing this on purpose and were trying to get an extra low raid time clear, and therefore it was not registering their time from there on in. And it was not even, I guess, picking up on the fact if they had finished. I don't know if I can confirm that, but that is an issue with the game and with the monitoring software. And apparently, I think it sounds like they are looking into this. So continuing on, and a few housekeeping announcements. Number one was Title Update 10.1 will be coming soon. The date is TBA, or to be announced, but it's planned for the second half of July. So that's either going to be the 21st or 28th. It's going to include additional bug fixing and balancing. They also hinted at TU 11, that's Title Update 11, is currently in the works as well. No release dates, details when they are available. Nikki briefly touched on a mechanic that was installed as part of Title Update 10 where they attempted to increase minimum power levels based on the difficulty that you were attempting, but it's not quite working the way that they intended it to, so they're also looking into even further slight bumps for Challenge, bigger bumps for Heroic, and then Legendary will be adjusted separately. So that's an issue that I've had with the game, and I was vocal with it for quite some time, is if I'm going to attempt a harder difficulty, which I often do, I often play on most of the time on Heroic and then dabble into Legendaries as well, I want the gear drops to reflect that. Now, as part of Title Update 10, they of course got rid of the purple or specialized gear on pretty much everything that I play, but many of the gear drops are still somewhat subpar, and I don't see that big of an increase if I'm playing on Challenge up to Heroic or Heroic up to Legendary. They're going to be working on that again and possibly adjusting the levels even further upwards. Nikki also tried to address the huge issue the community is raising with rainbow rolls, and he wanted to confirm this is not a mechanic that has been manipulated. It is just RNG within the game, although they are working on different mechanics so that they can change the loot rolls to lessen rainbow rolls, whereas players are possibly, if you're looking for, let's say, Providence gear and you're looking for an all-red Providence body armor, it's insanely hard to find that because of the way the system is working, and they are possibly flirting with a mechanic that, let's say if the core attribute is a red, that maybe one of the lesser attributes will also match up with the core attribute. So the possibility of getting two reds and then maybe a blue, and then you can go in and change the blue. Anyway, they're looking at possible things. They're still experimenting with it. I don't see anything happening in the near future with this, although this seems to be an issue that many players are having with the loot pools right now. Yannick chimed in and answered a question from chat concerning skill cooldowns and loadout swap issues. And they know there's an issue right now with skills on cooldown preventing any sort of loadout swap. They're actually looking at a mechanic whereas if you try to initiate the loadout swap, the skill that's on cooldown will stay on cooldown, but everything else for the new loadout would swap over. And then I guess as soon as that skill came off of cooldown, you could then go in and initiate your loadout and get the correct skill to move over, although they know it's an issue and they're looking into it. Also briefly addressed in today's stream was yesterday's implementation of the Termite League and the fact that they have adjusted the difficulty settings on the timed events from what we saw in the previous league, which was either challenge or heroic difficulties, and they've adjusted everything down to hard or challenging. So the hardest mission you're going to see for a timed run as part of the Termite League is now on challenge difficulty versus what it used to be, which was challenge was the base and heroic was the higher. And this was done because there was quite a few players that were kind of tweeners. They were in between, maybe hard to challenge, weren't quite up to heroic, and it was just placing too many of those upper level objectives clearly out of their reach. Nikki finished off the informational section of today's stream by once again addressing where you can get certain exotics and from which raids you can get them from. So first off, the exotic Eagle Bearer, the assault rifle, can only be obtained from the Dark Hours raid. It's still exclusive to that raid. He also wanted to confirm that the Regulus and Ravidus are exclusive to the Iron Horse raid. Although the Regulus blueprint is a crafting quest obtained from finishing the raid, and then you have to go through certain steps to get it, but you got to beat the Iron Horse raid in order to get it. He also wanted to confirm that Dark Hours keys are separate from Iron Horse keys. So if you accumulate a ton of Dark Hours keys, you can't then jump into the Iron Horse raid and start opening loot containers to get Iron Horse raid exclusive exotics. That's not the way this is going to work. Okay, everybody, I saved the best and juiciest information for the last portion of today's upload, and that is concerning what the hell happened yesterday with the Iron Horse raid and all of these leaks that are now coming out about players who had informational guides sent to them prior to the raid, so they had a really good understanding of what was going on as they went into the raid. So the first thing that we saw this morning was a tweet from Marco Style, and I'll put this up onto your screens right now. And for those of you who don't know about Marco Style, Marco's been in the Division community since Division 1 launched back in March of 2016. He's a YouTube content creator, certainly a competent player, and makes excellent content, but has moved on from the Division over to the likes of games like Destiny, etc. And he posted over on Twitter today, also, now that the raid is over, it's time to come clean. Yes, I did the damage exploit for shade levels and gear, and yes, I had leaked raid information. None of them were because of Massive though. I just got lucky not getting banned. So not a whole lot to go on here from Marco. We all know that there were certain images that were leaked prior to the raid, that we know there was data miners that got in there and found out some information about the raid. We even know that there was console players who had access to the raid, although they shouldn't have, when the latest season went live, although that was shut down very quickly. But here we have an admission from a player, a squad member of the second place team from yesterday's raid, stating that they had information prior to the raid as to possibly how to finish it up, but the details are kind of vague until Sleepyo, one of his squad mates on the POG squad, came out with this confidential, I don't know what you would call this, it's almost like a dossier or a pamphlet, and it's got confidential written all over it, and of course in the Borda text, which is the Division text, and it's pretty descriptive on what to look out for, certain armor levels, certain things to avoid, certain mechanics, and it's, like I said, very descriptive in certain areas. It doesn't tell you how to do everything. I mean, you're gonna have to figure out certain portions of it, but it's for all four bosses, and they had this prior to the raid, which brings into question how many other players out there that attempted yesterday's raid and got it done in a marginal amount of time had access to this. I mean, we now have Marco coming out and Sleepyo coming out. There's also some other questions about some other streamers that were streaming yesterday that may have had access to this pamphlet. Although I don't want to spread any rumors, I'm not going to say any names. These two have publicly come out and stated what was going on. I think players have an issue, number one, that Marco was not rolled back like many other players who used the damage exploit. There's issues that I know that Massive stated on stream that they're investigating as to, possible actions to be taken against these players who have clearly come out and stated that they had confidential information. Now, it's not like they hacked into Massive or Ubi and got it. Somebody sent it to them, but I guess it begs the question, what is to be done about this? I mean, you can only do a world's first raid completion once, right? You can only do it once. I watched Macho yesterday, and Macho's internet went down, and he was completely wrecked on the fact that he wasn't going to be able to compete. And you only get one chance to make this first impression with it, right? So there's a lot of questions concerning yesterday's raid clear. I personally did not attempt any of it yet. I haven't looked at any of this confidential, haven't studied the confidential information that was posted over on Twitter, but this is certainly explosive admissions of cheating, of guilt, of possible, and I'm not saying this is confirmed, but possible, I don't know quite how to express it, favorable actions, towards certain personalities within our community, whereas some people feel if it was just a standard gamer that came out or a Division community member that came out and said, hey, I've been using the damage exploit to power up for the raid, that instantly their account would be rolled back. But here is Marco stating that his was not. So there's allegations of preferential treatment. There is a lot going on. Clearly the Division community right now is divided. They are angry. It feels like the dev team is in full-on damage control, which, yeah, there's a lot of damage being done right now with all the allegations being thrown around. This is certainly not healthy for our community, and I really, I want you to take this initial information that we have with a grain of salt. We have these two admissions, but I'd really like to, if anyone out there, has any cold hard facts, if you want to place them down into the video description, I would encourage those. No speculations, please. We don't know anything. How it is in the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty. So let's just leave it at that. But there is a lot going on surrounding this that is certainly detrimental to the Iron Horse raid and the world's first completion. So with all of these allegations flying around, I just think I'm going to end this one right here, and I really look forward to reading your feedback in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, smash that sub button for intensive Division content and ring the notifications bell to never miss another upload notification from my YouTube channel. If you like the video, rate it with a thumbs up, if not, with a thumbs down. Links to support my full-time content creation outside of YouTube include Patreon and Teespring, both in the video description. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for all my latest thoughts concerning most things gaming related. And until the next one, this is Lieutenant Buzz Lightbeer, signing off.